I thought I'd found love. Then I read the prenup. It wasn't a prenup. It was a merger agreement. And I was the company being acquired. My boyfriend Jake was everything I dreamed of. Handsome, successful, drove a Tesla, lived in a downtown penthouse. But here's the truth. I was just another investment to him. And the return he got? Prison time. It started 2 years ago at this upscale charity gala in Manhattan. I was there with my best friend Sarah. Both of us in clearance dresses, trying to look like we belonged. That's when Jake walked up with this $1 million smile, holding 2 champagne glasses. "You look like you could use something stronger," he said. I laughed. He was charming, confident, wearing a watch that probably cost more than my car. Within weeks, we were inseparable. He'd pick me up in his Porsche borrowed. I later learned and take me to restaurants where the menu didn't have prices. You know, the kind of place that serves foam and calls it cuisine. He'd buy me things, expensive things. A Gucci bag here, Louboutin heels there. "You deserve the best," he'd say. And stupid me? I believed every word. My friends started whispering. "He's too good to be true," Sarah would say. But I'd just roll my eyes. I thought they were jealous. I mean, who wouldn't be? Here I was, a girl from Queens, working 2 jobs, suddenly living like I'd made it. 6 months in, Jake proposed. Picture this: rooftop restaurant, string quartet, the whole New York skyline glittering behind us. The ring? 4 carats, princess cut. I cried, actually cried. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. I screamed. People applauded. It was like a movie scene I'd rehearsed my whole life. But here's where things shifted. After the engagement, Jake started asking detailed questions about my family specifically. "So your dad owns that construction company upstate? Your uncle? He's the one with the real estate portfolio? Didn't you mention your grandmother has property in the Hamptons?" I thought he was just getting to know my future in-laws. Being thorough, you know. But then came the prenup, a 15-page stack of legal jargon. My lawyer, the one my dad insisted I hire, went pale reading it. "This isn't a prenup," she said slowly. "This is unconscionable. It's structured like a business acquisition. The document didn't just protect his assets. It entitled him to claim portions of any inheritance I received during our marriage. It had clauses about family business interests, property transfers, even future earnings from family trusts I didn't even know existed." "Jake, what is this?" I confronted him that night. We were in his penthouse, the one I later discovered he was renting, not owning. "It's standard, babe. Just protecting both of us," he said, scrolling through his phone. That's when I saw it. A notification blinked across his screen. "Is she signing? We need access to her family's assets by Q3. My heart didn't drop, it calcified. "Who's that?" I asked, my voice shaking. He grabbed his phone. Fast, too fast. "Just my business partner, nothing you need to worry about." But I was worrying. I was worrying about everything now. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there next to him, watching him breathe, wondering who he really was. The man I loved, or someone I'd invented in my head? At 3 a.m., I got up and started digging. What I found made me physically sick. Jake's successful business, a shell company with no revenue. The Tesla, leased under someone else's name. The penthouse, a short-term rental he'd been rotating every few months. The Porsche, a borrowed flex from his so-called business partner. The expensive dinners, the gifts, everything, paid for by maxed-out credit cards and loans he had no way of repaying. But here's the real bomb. Are you ready? Jake had done this before. Not once, not twice, 4 times. 4 different women, each from a wealthy family. He'd romance them, propose, get them to sign contracts or access family money, then vanish. One girl's family lost $200,000. Another lost property deeds. He was a professional con artist, and I was target number 5. I found his real Instagram account, not the cleaned up one he showed me, but his private one. Photos of him with other women, captions like "another fish on the line" and "easy money, easier hearts." There were group chats where he and his accomplices shared playbooks for targeting women at charity events, how to fake success, which families to research. Every kiss, every "I love you," every romantic gesture, calculated moves in a business plan. He never loved me. He loved my family's money. I sat on the bathroom floor, shaking, crying, but then something shifted. Grief turned to rage. Cold, focused rage. You know what I did? I didn't confront him. I played along. "Jake, honey, I signed the prenup." I lied. "My lawyer said it's fine." His face lit up like he'd won the lottery. "Really? That's amazing, babe. You won't regret this." Oh, but he would. He absolutely would. Over the next 3 months, I worked quietly. I contacted the other women, all 4 of them. At first, they didn't want to talk. Too embarrassed, too hurt. But when I told them my plan, they were in. We coordinated everything, gathered evidence, bank statements, photos, messages, legal documentation. I even contacted the FBI. Turns out, multi-state fraud using electronic communications, that's their jurisdiction. The wedding day arrived. The venue was gorgeous, a garden estate my parents paid for. 200 guests, a designer dress I'd never wear again, flowers everywhere. Jake stood at the altar in his rented tux, probably calculating his profit margin. I walked down the aisle. Everyone was smiling, crying happy tears. My father squeezed my hand. "You sure about this?" he whispered. "More sure than I've ever been," I whispered back. When I reached the altar, I didn't take Jake's hand. I took out my phone. The garden went silent. The projector screen behind us woke up photos, screenshots, bank statements, his Instagram, the text about Q3, everything. The gasps were deafening. Jake's face cycled through confusion, recognition, then pure panic. "Babe, wait, this isn't..." 4 women stepped into the aisle. My co-victims, my allies. "You want to explain this to her," the first woman said. "Or, how about the $50,000 you stole from my family? The fake investment scheme you got my father involved in? The engagement ring you never paid for?" Jake bolted. Literally tried to run through the rose-covered archway. But my brother and cousins were already positioned at every exit. And then federal agents walked in. Plain clothes, badges out. "Jacob Mitchell, you're under arrest for wire fraud, conspiracy, and aggravated identity theft," the lead agent announced. They arrested him right there, at the altar, on what was supposed to be our wedding day. His mother started screaming. She was in on it too, by the way, helped him research targets, coached him on which questions to ask. They arrested her 3 days later as accessory to fraud. My family stood frozen. Then my dad started clapping, slowly at first, then others joined. The guests, after processing the shock, actually applauded. Some of the other women's families were there too. It became this surreal celebration of justice. The media picked it up within hours. Bride exposes serial con artist at altar. I was on every news channel, podcast, morning show. Hollywood called about movie rights. I said no. Some wounds are too fresh to monetize. But here's what still haunts me. Late at night, alone in my apartment, I think about those first few months, when I genuinely believed he loved me, when every gift felt special, every word felt real. How do you recover from loving a ghost? From realizing the person you'd have died for never existed? I went home that night, still in my wedding dress, stood in front of my mirror, mascara streaked down my face, and just stared. Who was I? The girl who fell for a con, or the woman who burned it all down to stop him? The other women and I are close now. We have a group chat called Survivors Club. We share our healing journeys, warn each other about red flags, sometimes even laugh about the absurdity of it all. Dark humor, but it helps. It really does. I'm doing better now. I'm back in school, getting my master's in forensic accounting. Ironic, right? Dating? Not ready. Maybe someday. But I'm more careful now, more aware. And honestly, I'm okay being single. I'd rather be alone than be someone's exit strategy. Want to know the most insane part? I got a letter from Jake in prison last month. You know what it said? "I'm sorry you felt deceived. What we had was real to me. Not, I'm sorry I deceived you, but sorry you felt deceived." Classic gaslighting, even from behind bars. He still can't admit the truth. So that's my story. The girl who almost became a professional con artist's retirement plan. People ask me, do you regret meeting him? The pain? Yes. The lies? Absolutely. But the lesson? Never. I learned what love isn't, and sometimes that's more valuable than knowing what it is. Some nights I miss a man who never existed, but I don't miss the lesson. Love without honesty isn't love. It's a business model, and I'm nobody's quarterly earnings report. Would you have caught the signs, or would you have fallen for it too? Because when someone's practiced on 4 victims before you, when they've refined their playbook, it's harder than you think to see through the performance. What would you have done? Exposed him publicly like I did? Or walked away quietly? Comment below, because I still wonder if the public humiliation was justice or just revenge dressed up. But then I remember the other women he hurt, the ones he would have hurt after me, and I think, yeah, it was worth it. Sometimes you have to be ruthless to be kind. Sometimes you have to burn the stage to save the audience. This story is based on real events with some fictional elements added for privacy. But the core truth, that's all real. And it could happen to anyone, even you. So keep your eyes open, because the person who seems too good to be true, they usually are.